thank you for clicking on this video. As you can tell from the title, it's going to be on my polka dot plant. A few months ago, sometime before Christmas, I believe, I bought this plant and it had these amazing roots and it was so much more luscious, and I repotted it into this ginormous pot, which was kind of a big mistake because it's, can we see, 100 times I'm exaggerating a little bit, but 100 times bigger. So I am going to just put it into this nursery pot. I am not really sure what's the size of it. I would say maybe a 4-inch, not really sure, but if I put it in, that's how it's gonna fall. So I think it's a great pot for right now, just so I can get its roots back to being strong and just familiarize myself a little bit more with the plant. Now the soil that I had is completely fine, still good soil. If you press on it, it should mold into whatever your fist molds, and then the rest it should be able to just drop and crumble. Just put my sleeves up. I actually have some extra fresher potting soil that I'm just going to place in the bottom. Let's see. And it's, as you can tell, it's a tiny plant because it just fits in your palm. The roots are already pretty loose from when I first repotted it, so I'm just going to keep it as is. I'm not going to press too hard, but I'm going to just like keep it like this, push it down, and I think this would be perfect. Let me see, I'm just moving this around. I did actually let it get to the point where they withered down like those red vein plants, like the Fittonia plants. But some bounced back and most of the leaves died, dried up pretty bad. So I'm just gonna leave it like this. I spread it out the leaves so they're not tangled up. Yeah, I think this is a great. And I'm just going to some of the fresh soil. And I am going to fill the sides. Make sure that there's no gap, because that is not good for plants. And I'm just going to kind of like bend the pot, make sure it goes inside. Now I'll gently move this over, bury some inside. Oh, I found a root, so push that inside gently, because these are pretty delicate. I mean, they are very delicate plants. I mean, all plants are delicate, but for some reason, these are super delicate. Almost as if you're gonna put your hair in a ponytail. Okay, so I did 2 sides. Again, I'm just gonna do this, make sure it all falls in. And from my experience, since I've had them for like 2 months now, they definitely like to be kept moist. If you're on top of it, spritz them once in a while, because they do dry up. So I think if your home has that humidity that plants like, they would do pretty good in it. But for me, I keep it in my kitchen, dining room area, and I've been using the oven a lot, and so that pretty much helps with humidity for me. Also, just always having the water on, or just like, I guess, boiling some water builds up humidity if you don't have a humidifier. Or sometimes if I'm gonna shower, or if you just want to run the shower, you can place your plants in there, but it's not good to run water if you're not using it. You gotta save water. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it like this. I think some soil went in. So here we go. See, this one looks really good still. This one here still looks pretty well. Some, let me see if you guys can see that. You see that leaf? It's pretty damaged. They're crispy, and I guess the newer ones are crispier a little bit, but they are beautiful. Like, look at this one, for example. Very, very pretty. But I would say they are kind of a finicky plant. They definitely don't like to be neglected. So if you're one to go on vacation, or be out of the home for a couple of days, I would say this might not be the plant for you. I'm just trying to pinch out the ones that are pretty dry, but I'm hoping that by placing these plants back in a smaller pot, it would just help it to grow stronger and more structural roots, and just in a way, just for myself to get used to this plant a little more, because I thought that it was a pretty easy plant, that if I put it in a big pot, that it would be able to, I guess, just grow more luscious and fuller, even though it did have great roots. But that wasn't the case. I should have at least maybe leveled it up to a wider pot than a longer pot, because from width it wasn't bad. It had the space it needed, but oh, sorry, that's soil. But from the as you can tell, I went up a little too much. So I think this looks pretty good. I am going to bottom water it, because I'm not going to completely soak it. I'm just going to let it absorb whatever it needs from the bottom. And yeah. Oh, and one reason why I also don't pour water over these plants is because I noticed that their foliage is pretty sensitive. At least from my experience. I don't know from anyone else's. That's also a cause to the crisping of the leaves. But if you guys have any recommendations, please let me know down below. Even if this happened to you, or whatnot, what do you think causes the crisping of the leaves besides lack of humidity? But for the most part, even though it's not so luscious as when I bought it, it's done pretty well, and I'm really happy. So even though it is a dramatic plant, I would say, in a second. I would say it's a survivor plant. I get it. It does take neglect, but not too much. Not like most plants. As you can see, this one's drooping, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna let it get some water. I'm just hoping that this part here doesn't get too close to the soil, and then within a couple of days I lose that little section because it was touching the soil too much. But what I do like to do is once in a while, really gently, because these are super like fragile, super delicate, I like to just go in and just spread them apart a little bit. But that's it. This is my polka dots in New York video. And the reason why I like to add New York into my videos is because I don't see a lot of videos based in New York when it comes to plants. And even though I see other YouTube creators making videos and having these amazing, beautiful plants, sometimes they're in a location where plants do much better. Or, you know, they have warm weather in all 4 seasons. So, but in New York, that's not the case. So I just wanted to show you, at least from my end of the world, of the states, of the globe, how my plants are doing. And I know some people also tend to have a humidifier, which also adds to the success of a plant. So take that into consideration too, that I'm a person who doesn't have a humidifier, living in a different climate in all 4 seasons, if that makes any sense at all. But yes, what am I going to do? Let me show you something. Okay, so I have this saucer here where I'm just going to pour water, and I'm just going to let it sit. And that's how I usually water my plants, unless it's a really large plant. And also what I like to do is I like to, okay, maybe I should shut the water off. I usually let my plants soak in water that I have kind of like boiled. But right now, it's just one of those days where I don't want to do that. So I'm just putting regular faucet water, which is not the greatest water, not the purest water, if I should say that better, for plants. Okay, so that's it. This side looks really nice. Hopefully this side bounces back just a little bit, and hopefully the water would just help a little more. Okay. And yes, if I remember correctly, I don't think I have my instructions in came with. That's strange. I don't think they like right. Oh heck no. You know what? This is gonna be a video that's all over the place, but I apologize. Let me quickly tell you what these plants like. Okay, so it is a species of flowering plant in the family of Acanthacea, native to South America, Madagascar, and the Southeast Asia. The spots often merge into larger areas of color. The Latin specific name means with a leaf spike. Interesting. And I'll just give you a quick care tip. Provide good light. Bright indirect light is ideal for pink polka dot plants. Plant in rich, well-draining soil. Water regularly. Fertilize monthly. Provide high humidity and moderate temperatures. Pinch back weekly. Okay, so I am definitely going to take those into considerations. I've noticed that you definitely should be pinching back. It's a plant that definitely needs humidity. And they do grow often, so I guess depending on your location, fertilize would be best. I currently don't have fertilizer, but I do not want to fertilize most of my plants until I would say probably around April or even May, and for like 2 more months. And water regularly. Yes, that is because they do like to be kept moist. But I did not have it in a area that had bright indirect light. It was just really in an area that was getting just regular filtered skylights. So I will be relocating this plant. However, my room that gets amazing light is farther from where we are most active, so that would be like less humidity in a colder room. But if you guys really want to see like an update on how it is after I relocate it, just comment down below. I really don't think these plants are going to die that easily, so I'm really happy. And if anything, if these don't bounce back, I'll just pinch them, and hopefully from there they'll grow better. They look like they you really have to like completely probably leave it out in the sun or completely dry it out for them to not have like the little bit of wanting to fight to survive. And you know what, I think that they are pretty much watered. The top of the soil looks pretty moist. I don't like the top of the soil to be soaking, because if then it is, then you start getting fungus gnats, and that is a no-no. Look at this. You see this little, let me see. You see this little one right here that's killing me? I'm just going to pinch it, and it looks semi better. But no, not for nothing. They do look better in a smaller pot, so I think I would recommend that if you are resizing these polka dot plants, definitely size up to only the next level. Don't try going any higher. And before I drag this video out any longer than it needs to be, that's it, guys. Thank you for watching my semi-informative polka dot plant video. And if you guys have any tips on how I should, I guess, any care tips at all, just comment down below, because it's always good to know more info on plants. Even if we think we know, someone else's tip can always be helpful. I forgot I have music in the back, and I hope I don't have a problem with this video. Okay, but I'm gonna leave it alone. Thanks guys for watching.